Okay. All right. Orientation is now. Okay. Orientation is locked. All right. So rotate device back. Okay. All right. So I guess I should turn it around this way. Okay. So I guess I should turn it this way. Oh. Okay. All right. All right. All right. There we go. I shall get this together one day. All right. All right. Happy new and beautiful day, everyone. Wow, this is a day that we have made as a collective mind. So if you do not like what you see, you have to become what it is that you want to see, be, experience, and express. Once again, we're going to start off the live with beautiful, beautiful breath work. And we're going to once again do the 4, 2, and 6, where we inhale through our nose in 4 counts, and we're going to hold that inhale through our nose for 2 seconds, and then we are going to exhale through our mouth in 6 counts, and we're going to do that 3 times. And once again, we're going to inhale through our nose, and we're going to hold for 2 seconds, count for 4, hold for 2 seconds, and then we're going to exhale through our mouth, and we're going to count for 6 seconds, and we're going to do that 3 times. Okay? All right, and we shall begin now. Okay. All right. We have done that, and well, hello there, everyone. Gratitude for your presence. I am on the YouTube side too, so if you guys want to also migrate over on the YouTube side, I am also live on the YouTube side as well. Hi, Mr. Overett. Hi, my beautiful friend. Gratitude for your presence. Thank you for tuning in. Hi, Kazi Kaz. Gratitude for your presence as well. Thank you guys for divinely tuning in to my frequency. I am so divinely grateful. And I was saying I'm also on the YouTube side as well. If you guys want to migrate over onto the YouTube side as well, I'm over there too. Hey, Kaz. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. All right, so let me go ahead and put these disclaimers out there. I am not here to tell anybody what to do or how to be. I'm only here to example and to express myself in terms of how I understand my now moment. right? I'm only here to give, what has been bestowed upon me in terms of how I understand and place that understanding in the essence of the illuminated breadcrumbs that you have afforded yourself to be in alignment with, right? And to be able to understand that in this essence of the awakening, right? The awakening. So I'm not here to tell anybody what to do. However, I am here to give you guys something to think about. But I'm not here to tell you guys what to do, because you are here to create your own relative reality as you so see fit to do so. You're here to create and experience, right? And next, any content creator or celebrity, or anybody for that matter, that I speak upon on this platform, all information is heavily, heavily alleged, for I was not there to account or attest the validity of such said information that has been placed out there for public consumption. I'm only utilizing such said information as an example, for whatever I am using as reference to what I am speaking about in this said live. But anything other than that, as an example, it is just information, and it's heavily, heavily alleged. And last but not least, I move on the premise of divine unconditional love. So, anything that is, brought here, or, anybody, I do not judge, because to judge you or to judge anything is to also judge myself, because there is a clear and cogent understanding that all is source. So to judge me is to judge you, and to judge you is to judge myself. So there is no judgment, and it's moved in harmony and divine unconditional love. All right. All right. So with that being said, we're going to get into it. As you guys can see, what the live title is saying, it says source experience resets and signs of a regulated nervous system. Because as we begin to understand this, arc of remembrance, because all of my lives is basically going to be, in gearance of that, so that people can begin to understand themselves in terms of, if they have chosen to remember, if they have chosen to ascend in the higher octave of light. And as I begin to get more download and clarity of how to articulate, and even some corrections in terms of how to articulate my transmission to you guys, I'm going to share it with you guys, and even interjected with some of the experiences as well that I am also experiencing, that kind of, correlates with everything that I'm going through, with what, with my downloads. It's really interesting that my field is representing like everything that I'm like downloading. It's so weird. So like when I tell you guys that I'm holding the tone while I'm experiencing, a shared energy field that is, that still operates in chaos and confusion. And so therefore it's like I'm, living in two worlds, basically, right? The correlation of it all. Yes, Mr. Like, it's the correlation of it all. It is like, I'm like, okay, I'm living the experience. And so if you guys see me looking from one side to the next, it's because I got two, I'm doing both. I'm doing IG as well as YouTube. So I'm on both sides. The synchronicity of it all, Mr. Overett, yes. So it's the correlation, the synchronicity. It's like I'm living it while I'm transmissioning it. Yes, the synchronicity of it all. So I'm living it. So I even have a story. I even have a story to go along with the download, So, as I give you guys, what is being given to me in the transmission, I actually have an experience that actually just took place yesterday to go along with everything that's transpiring. But I do want to also elaborate more about, the Great Reset. to give you guys a little bit more of a clarity even on that, in a more loving transmission and a more harmonic transmission and more harmonized sense of understanding. Because as I've said, there is so a freshly made, okay, Miss Ulrich, okay, whole ingredients, a whole ingredients, whole food situation, okay, because it, and I think that's just how it goes. Hi, golden sugar. Hi, beautiful. Gratitude for your presence. Thank you for divinely tuning into my frequency. I'm so divinely grateful to have you. And also keep in mind, you guys, I am also on YouTube as well. I do have it simultaneously going on as well as this live. So if you guys want to go over on the YouTube side, just to show some love and to show some support to that channel, it's Divine Words of Wisdom Official. The link is in the bio of the IG live the IG platform, which you can go into the bio of the IG platform and click on the link of Divine Words of Wisdom, and it'll take you directly to the YouTube channel if you would like to show some support to the YouTube channel as well. So I am live over there as well as IG. But welcome, Golden. I'm grateful. Give her some thumbs up on. Thank you, Miss Mwah, I love you. Thank you. Yes, let's get our YouTube family. Let's get a family over on the YouTube side too, because I have such a vast of information that I'm going to share, and I'm going to give you guys some tips. I'm going to give you my regulation, my nervous system regulations, which is ironically, I could have just given it to you guys what I'm going through in terms of what I perceived as, what's regulating my nervous system. But I wanted a more concise, because I didn't want to miss out on anything. So I did go to ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT, well, what are some nervous system regulators? And it gave it to me, ironically. I probably should have been asked that question. I don't know why I didn't. It just was never in my repertoire of even asking about it. And I've been talking about it for the longest of time, and it never even dawned on me to ask about it until now. And I did ask, but I've talked about it, about the breathing and all this other kind of stuff. But it never even really dawned on me to even ask ChatGPT what would be some of the nervous system like how to know when your nervous system is actually regulating. And ironically, maybe this is TMI. I probably not go out. I don't know. This might be a little bit TMI, and I'm like, oh, okay. And it's now getting better. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, so that's why I was having that issue. You know what I'm saying? Like, and now it's better. And I'm like, oh, so that's why it's better. That's like, it's some kind of medical diagnosis stuff going on that I'm finding out and stuff like that. Like, yeah, it's way clearer now. Like, it's like, oh, okay. So I'm gonna go over, I'm gonna go over these things. I'm gonna go over it with you guys too as well, so that you guys can start to begin to see where you are and where you need to be in terms of regulating your nervous system, so that you can begin to align your signal, so that you can start, experiencing the reality of the chosen reality, right? That you're choosing. Feel your lungs deeply for regulation. Yes, breathing is a real key essential thing. Breath work is a very, very good thing to begin to ground. And I know I speak upon that a lot lately, and I've actually been doing that a lot lately too as well. And that was something that I was not doing. And I remember telling you guys that my breath initially, even in my sleep, was like really, really shallow. And I was, it was shallow. It was really shallow. I was breathing really fast. And that was a norm for me. That was such a norm for me. And when I tried to do slow breathing, my body would not allow me to do so slow breathing, because that was not my normal breath. That was slow breathing was not my normal breath. And so that's how you kind of know when you're in survival, is when your breath is at, a faster pace of breathing. But we're going to get into I gotta leave at 1:30, you guys, because I gotta go pick up my grandson. So, and I did it this way too. I had to go. Well, first of all, the reason why I'm starting now, let me go ahead and say it, because I know I'm supposed to be here at 10, and I know I'm not really trying to constrict myself to time, but I still feel like I owe you guys an explanation. Don't really know why, but I'm just gonna give you one. I had to take my husband to the doctor. Y'all know I got some things. I got a whole lot of stuff going on in my field. I got a whole lot of stuff going on in my field, right? I knew you was gonna say something, cause, but I got a legitimate reason. Okay, I got a legitimate reason. I had to take my husband to the doctor and everything. So that's why. That's the reason why so I got a legit reason. All right, so that's why here. And then I'm trying to keep it from being 3 hours long. I'm trying not to be so long-winded. I'm taking care of business. I'm TCBing over here. And I'm multitasking it. Okay, I'm still taking care of some business. All right. I'm being superwoman over here. Okay. Got all these things going on, and I'm still doing a lot, and I'm still doing it. I'm multitasking it. Okay. All right. So I'm here, and then I gotta go pick up a grandbaby, and a cat done came into my life. So now I gotta get all my cat, the cat, it was a kitten that done came into my life that don't leave. Now I gotta go take it and go get it some shots and all cleaned up and everything like that. It just won't leave. It done chose us. So now I'm finna go get this cat all situated and everything. And so hold on, let me make sure I lock the door. I don't need nobody coming in here. I forgot to lock the door. And I make the so that's why that's why I had to that's why I'm late, but I got to be out here by 1:30. So I'm gonna try to make this real detailed, real robust and full, and give you guys something full, so that way you have something. So, but we're going to talk about, I want to talk about the experience of the reset first, because I think that is the part concise. Yes, really concise, Mr. Overett, because I think that's part of where everybody is at. That's where like a lot of the denser storylines are being given and such, with that braid of fear-based sense of understanding. And a more denser braids. They have more of a denser braid into the midst of it, right? And I want to give a little bit, take some out of the densities out of it. And one of the things source. So what happens with the human experience? And we're going to particularly talk about the human experience, because guess what? That's what we're in right now. We're in the human experience. So in the reset, okay, how source determines the reset of an experience is sustainability. Okay, how in the evolutionary aspect of any experience, when an experience is ready to evolve to the next evolutionary state of itself, out of a denser state of ability, can the experience itself sustain itself in the next evolutionary state? Now, it's not about percentages, it's nothing about percentages or anything of that nature. It is about coherence. Coherence, the ability of energy coherence. Can it energetically maintain the coherence of the next octave of light? It's about energetic coherence. So if there is a certain amount of energy, which is us, this is why I say we're, even though we're having human experiences, and we're, people, places, persons, and things, and we're going about our day, but how are we thinking? How is our story energetically intertwined? Are we more densely thinking? Are we more densely experiencing? What is our belief systems, right? We are energy. Exactly, Kazi. We're energy, right? So how, what are our energetic thoughts? How are we energetically experiencing? What are we choosing to energetically experience? So, if we're moving into a different, if it's time for the experience to energetically evolve, and we're still housing dense experience, even when there's the window period of the experience now coming back unto itself to remember itself in truth, and we're still holding on to thought codes of density, right? And we're not moving in the coherence of itself to energetically evolve into the higher octave of light, right? We're not energetically coherent enough to sustain ourselves in the higher octaves. That is how source determines whether or not to either reset the experience, right, back unto itself, not to annihilate it. It's not to annihilate the experience, but to give the experience another particular opportunity to move at a different coherence of expression, because it could not sustain itself at of an evolutionary aspect to raise itself energetically in a different in a higher octave of light. So it's about sustainability. How can the aspect of the experience energetically can sustain itself energetically in the higher octaves of light? And that's really where this whole the awakening is really coming into that's where it's at. So this is why some of the keynote things, like I said, the only thing that I can do here is I can't tell you what to do. We're not here to tell you what to do, but we could tell you what we are doing. What we could tell you, what we are severing and saying what no longer serves us, right? And so when we say that we are severing ourselves from denser aspects of experiences, meaning that if we want to ascend into higher octaves of light, we cannot we cannot sustain experiences that are denser, doesn't no longer serve us. So we have to example that we don't participate in denser experiences. That's, we only can't example that. We can't tell you, we can't tell you, oh, you better not do this. No different than what the density itself is doing by telling you guys, because in remembrance, it's not being told what to do. It is about the essence of the divine choice of you choosing now in a state of awareness. It's not about us telling you. We're here to example. We're here to example, what it is. And so, me being in a state of awareness now, I'm saying, okay, well, I'm aware and I understand that I'm energy first. And I understand that the coherence, in order to raise, into the next octave of light, right? In order to raise into the next octave of light, the coherence has to be able to sustain itself in that essence of octave of light. Okay, so what is that essence of octave of light? Well, it can't house the certain densities, right? I'm going to show you on the, I wish this, I don't know what this little part is here. I don't want to play with YouTube because I don't know what this means right here. But I know that I do have some visuals that I can show you what the braids are and different things of that nature. But when you are braiding the, Hey, hi, my beautiful cousin on the YouTube side. Hey, beautiful. Gratitude for your presence. Mwah. Thank you for choosing my frequency on the YouTube side. I'm so grateful. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here. Welcome. Um, let's see, said hi. Yes, it said hi, beautiful. So when you begin, I have something, and I'm going to get StreamYard, you guys, for the YouTube side, so that I can start showing visuals and different things of that nature. I love you too, Mama. I love you too. I'm going to get StreamYard and stuff so that I can be able to show visuals like how I'm able to show visuals on the IG side. So, if it, the way that it's about coherence, right? It's about coherence. So when you're able to sustain an energetic coherence in the higher octave of light, um you have to let go the density that that is not aligned coherently to the higher octave of light. So the terminology now that is being used is the fifth dimensional self, the fifth dimensional octave. And so the definition of the fifth dimensional octave that people are telling you guys that's relative to the fifth dimensional octave, where it's love, it's unity consciousness, it's all of that. So these are the definitions that is being said, that is within the higher octaves of light. So if that's the coherence within the higher octave of light, that means that whatever we are doing, the derivatives that we are in right now, that means that that's the more denser self. And these are the things that you now have to unplug from. So if you're still trying to hold on to, the separation of self, or the illusion of separation, or the hierarchy and all of those things, if there's still aspects of you that are still plugged into those narratives or those belief systems or those experiences, or if you feel by dealing in politics where that there's separation and all this other kind of stuff, then that makes you incoherent to that to which the coherence is in the higher octaves of the reality that the evolution of the human experience is aspiring to ascend into. Okay. So the divine is not about, a percentage. It have to be 50%, 50%. It's about energetic coherence. How much of the energy of the experience is coherent enough to evolve in the next octave of light? If you guys need for me to break that down to the lowest common denominator, let me know and I will, because I can guarantee you ain't telling you guys it in this way. Because your energy first. I'm the energy girl. And I'm quantum simplified. Okay? It's about energetic coherence. How much of the energy? Now, yes, there are other stories that can go along with it that it depends on how you want to align to the experience to understand it. Okay? To understand it. It depends. How do you want to align to the reality, to understand the reality that is going to make it energetically coherent for you to evolve to the next octave of light? And maybe this method or methodology may not be that to which will allow you to understand it, to move you to the next octave of light, and that's fine. It may be another story that may get you into the path of understanding it in the manner to which you need to understand it to get you to the next octave of light. And that's fine too, because trust me, there are a plethora of them. But whatever pathway that you choose that gets you over the hump, that's all that matters, as long as it gets you over the hump if you want to experience the new experience in the next octave of light. But the beauty about it is that what came to me in another download is that it's not that the experience in itself is completely annihilated. It's that the experience goes back to 0 point, yes. However, it can still come back into expression at the human experience 2.0, at a different coherence, at a different energetic coherence. So you can wake up in a different reality, still in the human experience at 0 point, but you're not at a denser, you're not at a dense experience, right? You're not at a denser experience. So it could be the human experience 2.0. So yes, if it cannot maintain the coherence at the octave of light of the fifth dimensional self, the coherence, energetic coherence, where it's love and it's peace and there is no distortion and this and that or what have you, okay, it cannot maintain that coherence. It could go back to 0 point. The human experience can go back to 0 point, but then it can still come back into reflection at a human experience 2.0. It does have, source can reintroduce the experience at a different octave of light. And that's a beautiful thing. That is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And you would just wake up a lighter version of self. You may not even recognize, things could just appear a little bit different. The people that may be in your life right now, you may see different. It may be a whole nother different reality. To give you an idea, the husband that's in my life right now may look different because I'm coded different. It may be a different bird. It just may be different because remember, it's an energetic experience. It's an energetic experience. And so a lot of times people might say, well, oh, Patrice, there's spiritual laws and, you can't just do all of that and everything. And I'm like, listen, this is where I'm different from a lot of folk. And this is where I understand things different from a lot of folk. And I tell people all the time that it's source. Source can do whatever it wants to do. Source is an only child. Okay? It's like Source is an only child. Source can do whatever it wants to do. It's its own imagination that is creating all of this. And it created spirituality. It has a vivid imagination beyond the scopes of whatever it is that we think that we are comprehending of itself. And so therefore I don't underestimate anything, because whatever narrative that is being spoken in any reality is source that is creating it for itself. So it's like I don't listen to people in a way that tries to say, well, it can't be done because that's not how source operates, and source have laws. And I'm like, source have laws and source make more laws for the laws that is laws. Like source is source. And it's doing what it's doing for itself, and it's a loving and compassionate aspect. The one key thing that that resonates with me deeply is it's not a punishing aspect. It's not a punishing aspect. You experience it, but it's in terms of itself, in divine sacred truth, it's not a punishing aspect. So, and that's just me. That's just how I understand my now moment. And I know that depending on where you are at vibrationally and frequency, you may understand it in a different vibrational sense of understanding. Because not everybody understands the same analogy in the same way because of where they are at in consciousness, where they are at vibrationally. And that's built by design to create, different experiences. It's built by design, right? So that's the key essential thing. Right. And so when you get to understand, how sources, how, how divine, create the realities in that essence of divine unconditional love, it changes the dynamic of, how you even look at how experiences are created, and I'm speaking, relatively about the human experience, but it's all about the energetic coherence, how the reset. And like I said, it's not about placing any type of fear, like even with the reset of the reset of the dinosaurs and different things of that nature. How they say the dino, everything was destroyed, about like they brought the like the giants, and the dinosaurs. Well, we see reminiscences of the dinosaurs, right? The dinosaurs went through a reset, and so you see the fossils of a dinosaur. The Nephilims went through a reset, so you see the fossils of the Nephilims, right? You see the mountains shaped like shaped like women. You see caves, you see snakes, and because everything was huge, everything was gigantic. You had really, really big turtles, really big elephants, really big snakes, really big people. And you see reminiscences of buildings and different things of that nature that suggest that you had giants that walked the land. Okay. And so source resetted that experience, right? Source code resetted that experience. Okay. Source code resetted the dinosaur experience. Okay. So the reminiscences of those experiences in the human experience, when you have the archaeologists going through, and they're digging up and they're seeing the big bones, and they're digging up and they're seeing all of the fossils and different things of that nature that suggest that something else was here, but they can't really understand why they no longer exist, because there was a source code reset. There was a source reset. But the way that the story is told in form is that, there was some type of fire event, right? That came in, right? That came in. So what the fire event is? The fire event is remembrance codes. So now we're getting the fire event. We're awakening, but we're not burning up. We're not burning up. We're just awakening because of the DNA template that's coming in, the light codes that are coming in that is awakening it. So the light, the source energy that was in the Nephilims, the source energy that was in the dinosaurs, right? They had well, I'm up, right? See? So the source codes that was in the Nephilims, the source codes that were in the dinosaurs, they became awakened too. Right? But the way the lower mind is going, it is explaining it. There was a great fire and there was asteroids, and the asteroid hit and blew up the place, right? Because it was fire. It was fire and it blew up the place, and it suggests that it was a great fire and this and that or whatever. So that's what the lower mind in the reality gives the story an analogy. And I'm not saying that that's a falsity. I'm not saying that it did or did not happen, but I'm just saying that that's the narrative of how the lower mind in the lower consciousness understood the reality to be, and that's how it is expressed. But in the higher consciousness of understanding, right, it is the fire within. So it is the fire within, that anything that is expressed in the lower mind, that burns off the illusion codes. And then when the illusion codes is burned off, it brings you back to the remembrance of self. And if there is not an ability to sustain itself in a coordinates, in coordinates to raise to the next octave of light, then source brings the experience back to a reset. And allows for it to be experienced in a different dimensional. It may be experienced in a different dimensional self, or in a different, like I said, human experience 2.0, in a different higher octave of light or what have you, in a revamped coded experience. And that's all about energy, energy, energy. Reset back to 0 point. Not annihilation, but just an opportunity to be recoded and brought back in at a different octave of light. And this takes the fear-based, it harmonizes what has always been taught and expressed in a lower mind, in a fear-based sense of understanding. Like I said, my channel is about taking out the braid of fear, taking the frequency of fear out of it, taking the frequency harmonizing all of those things, right? Not you understanding it in a fear-based sense of understanding, right? Or in a denser sense of understanding. It's to harmonize it. Okay? That's where the same stories that you may have heard, it's to bring it more in a harmonized sense of understanding. Okay? Right? And so I just wanted to give you guys a different perspective, not to say, and once again, I'm always going to say this is how I understand my now moment. It's about coherence, energetic coherence of the experience. If the experience itself can sustain the higher octave, the higher bandwidth of energy, if those aspects of the experience within is ready to no longer accept the value of the lower mind experience and remove itself from the lower mind experience and then choose the higher octave. It's about choice, and that is the purpose of the burning off the illusion from what we're calling the sacred sun. Everybody talk about the sun coming back and the sun gonna burn up everybody. Well, the sun within is burning the illusion so that you can remember, so that now you can make a conscious choice on whether if you're going to still choose the denser self, or if you're going to now choose the higher octaves of light. But a lot of times, as I've said, now we're going to bridge back into the nervous system, because that's the big kit and caboodle, right? We're going to talk about the nervous system so that people can understand, why when you awaken, your reality is still showing certain things, and you're beaconing signals to that you want to experience a different reality, but you're still regulated to, you're still beaconing realities that you no longer prefer. And I'm going to give you some of the things. I did go to ChatGPT. I don't know why I didn't think about this long before, but I did. But now I did. So now I'm going to give you guys some stuff. Okay. So, your nervous system, basically, it's really kind of somewhat either. You know what I'm saying? Because that's where we are. It's a choice either between distortion or is a choice between harmony. And that's basically where I'm at. So, cause I'm choosing harmony. And so distortion is really where the survival realities are, and that's really where we're hardwired at, is on the survival state of being. So when you're hardwired to the survival state of being, that's where all of the distorted versions of the experiences are, through belief systems and different things of that nature. And if you don't understand that now the no longer chosen reality is now an illusion, right? And what you may not see, even though you are choosing it, even though you don't see it, even though you don't see it, you still choosing it. You might think because you don't see it, it's not real. No, it's real, but you ain't seeing it because you're still hardwired to the old reality that is no longer chosen, because of how you first of all, how you've been ingrained into the system to believe that the reality is true. It's true for the experience in agreement, but when you no longer agree to the reality, it becomes a drag, and you feel like shit, and you don't really want the reality, but you're going along to get along because that's you don't know how to change it. And 9 times out of 10, it's because now your nervous system is just acclimated to it. So I'm going to give you guys some of the things that suggests a regulated nervous system. It's going to suggest a regulated nervous system, and it's going to be broken down into the physical signs, the emotional signs, the mental signs, and the relational signs. Okay. And hey, it did all of that. I just asked one question and it did all of that for me. And I am so divinely grateful for it. Okay. Because I should have been asked this. All right. So the physical signs are you begin to breathe slower. And in my own experience, as I've said before, I was breathing in shallow breaths, and that was my norm. And I've noticed that my breath is much slower now. Okay. Because my nervous system is now regulating to, the higher octaves of light that I have chosen, the reality that I have chosen. So my breath is now much, much slower, much calmer, and everything. So if you stop for a moment and you assess your breath, okay, and you try to breathe slow and you can't breathe slow, it's hard, and you try to breathe slow and you can't breathe slow, okay, your nervous system is probably hardwired to survival. Okay, that's a keynote sign that your nervous system is still operating from survival. That's number one. Okay, it should be a little bit more deeper and a little bit more natural. It should not be shallow or rapid. Okay. Your next thing, the physical signs that you have a good nervous system. This is when you have a good nervous system, because we're speaking life, not death. And that's why I wanted to say when you have a good nervous system, so that you can start moving in the direction of having a good nervous system, because I don't want to reiterate you having a bad nervous system. I want you to have a good nervous system. So we're speaking life. Okay. So this is when you have a good nervous system. Okay. A good nervous system. Your heart rate feels steady. Okay. Your heart rate feels steady when you have a good nervous system. Your heart rate feels steady. These are physical signs. Okay. Your heart rate feels steady, right? It's not racing. Okay. Your heart rate feels steady. The next physical sign is that your muscles feel relaxed. Your muscles feels relaxed. There is no chronic tightness or clenching of your muscles. Your muscles feel relaxed. Okay. And for those of you guys that are joining me on the IG side, I just want to let you guys know that I'm also on the YouTube side. So if you guys want to also show some love on the YouTube side, I would be greatly appreciative of that. And thank you in advance. Thank you so much. And that's Divine Words of Wisdom YouTube. And the link is in my bio in my Instagram profile. All right. And the third this is the one that had me laughing, is that your digestive system works more smoothly. So that means you're able to go to the bathroom. Okay. You're able to go to the bathroom. You don't really have any constipation issues, because your gut is your second brain. Right. So you don't have any digestive issues. Okay. Your things are, flowing. Your things are flowing. So, and I, speaking from experience, when I was in, You know, that state, I had major, woo, I had major, um, chronic. And I ain't talking about, you know, that other, I had some major issues, right? So that's, you know, those are signs. Some of the signs on the physical side of your nervous system being regulated is that your, you know, breathing is slower, the heart rates feel steady, your muscles feel relaxed, and your digestive system works smoothly. So you could get, you know, get massages, you know, do all whatever you think you need to get yourself acclimated, but be consciously aware that these are your physical signs. These are some of the physical signs that comes along with the territory of being more conscious about your nervous system. And these are some of the things to look for so that you can begin to regulate your nervous system. So if you are seeing things that are different from that, these are some of the things that you must start trying to get in alignment. Okay, breath work, right? For the breathing, start doing breath work. Find out what breath work for you to start getting your breath work in alignment, right? Your heart rate. The breath work is going to also work in conjunction with regulating your heart rate. You know, slow down, you know, take some of the stresses out of your life. What's stressing you? You know, you're going to have to start readjusting some things, you know, to take the stresses out of your life so that you can start, you know, reducing the stress in your in your life with your heart rate. The muscles, once again, stress again may got your muscles going on. What's stressing you? You see how the density, you see how it kind of all kind of matriculates with the density and the stresses and the survival state of being. All of that comes along with you being in fight or flight, you know, stresses and different things of that nature. Digestion, can't go to the bathroom, you can't eat right, you know, all of these things. So all of that is in correlation that you have to reassess your environment, reassess your decisions, reassess how you thinking and all of this other kind of stuff that is contributing to your physical signs about how your nervous system is regulating. Okay, now the emotional signs that your nervous system, okay, your nervous system is intact, okay, is that you are able to feel emotions fully without being overwhelmed by them, meaning that, you know, you're able to be, you know, if something happened, you're not crying excessively, or you're not mad excessively, or you're not, you know, angry, you're not like belligerent, or, you know, it's not over the top. So you get upset, but you just get upset and it's done. Or you get happy, or you cry, but it's not over the top. Okay, you feel the emotion, but it's not excess. It's not an excessive thing. Okay, you have a calm baseline even when challenges arise. So that means like you get a situation happens. Like I had a situation that happened yesterday where my son came to me with an issue. And he was over the top. You know, he wasn't really over the top, but he wasn't happy. And I had to deal with the situation. And so when the energy that he brought the situation to me in, I could have easily accepted that same energy and reacted, but I didn't accept the energy that he brought the situation to me in. I transmuted the energy and still dealt with the situation, but not in the energy that it was given to me in, right? So I was able to transmute the energy and still handle the situation, right? So you're able to handle a situation. You can transmute the energy. So therefore, somebody come to you with some, you know, BS, and they all hyped and everything or whatever, and you ain't messing with my peace. You know what I'm saying? And you know, and you're able to handle it still within your chosen tone. You know what I'm saying? You're not, you know, it's not taking you out of your peace or your chosen tone. Okay. anger, sadness, or fear past you without lingering or as an identity. So now you're not holding on to no grudges. You know, you got mad and somebody did something to you, you got mad, but you let it go. You're not identifying it with like you holding a grudge on a person forever and ever, because remember, that's you. That other person going on about their business, and you the one mad, holding on to that energy, holding on to that density of that anger, holding on to that negative dense anger. That's what mess up your nerve. That's messing up your nervous system. So you're able to let that go. So you got mad and it pissed you off, and you got mad for a second. You be like, man, forget this, and you let it go, and it's back to being happy. That you regulating your nervous system back to that to which it is of your chosen reality, which is that of peace, joy, happiness, and all this other kind of stuff, because you're not holding on to dense experiences that took you out of your coordinates. So let's say you're here and you're happy, right? And then let's say somebody cut you off and piss you off, and you like, man, you did whatever. And then you dip for a second, and they called you every name in the book except the child of God, and you got mad for a second. You ain't stay down here. You dipped and you cussed them out and called them every name but the child of God, but then you just like, man, I ain't finna be mad, and then you just rose back up to your your true state. So if you're not holding on to any anger or anything like that, because that's not your true state. You didn't stay down here. You're staying in your coordinate self. Okay, that's where that means that you're not holding on to anger, sadness, or fear. You're allowing it to pass through without it lingering as an identity. And another emotional sign that you have a healthy nervous system is that you have a deeper sense of safety in the body and in the environment. So that means that you have shifted your field of energy in your space within, and so therefore it's reflecting externally without. So because you have shifted in within, you're safe within. Your external environment is reflecting that as well, because you feel safe within. So because you feel safe within, you're not worried about anything external on the outside, because you feel safe within, right? The mental signs that your nervous system is healthy and you're beaconing, and you're in the field of the chosen reality, and you're getting the proper signals that you want to experience in your chosen reality. These are the mental signs, is that you have a clearer focus and presence of the now. So what that sounds like for me is that I'm always speaking in presence, my now moment, how I understand my now moment. I understand that there's nothing but the now moment, the chosen reality of the now moment. Anything that I understand is the now moment, the afternoon of the now moment, the now moment of the human experience, the morning of the now moment, the afternoon of the now moment, because this is the afternoon of the now moment within the human. This is the afternoon of the human experience in the now moment. This is the evening in the human experience of the now moment. This is the morning in the human experience of the now moment. So I understand in presence that this is what it is called in the human experience of the now moment. So I'm always present, understanding that I'm in the human experience that calls this the morning, afternoon, evening, and night in the human experience of the now moment. So it's presence of understanding. So these are the mental signs that you are now in coherence of your nervous system, because you have a clearer focus and presence of the now. I know I said a lot. Y'all can rewind to this to understand how that correlates with understanding about the now moment. Okay? You're less scattered, and you're less in survival by overthinking. So you're not overthinking about everything. Oh, I wonder what I should do. Should I do this? Or do you think I should do that? Or whatever. No, you're clear and cogent. I ain't doing it. Okay, I'll do that. You ain't second guessing it. You just do it. You ain't taking it. I feel I'm doing it. I ain't doing it. I don't feel like doing it. Oh, I'll be there tomorrow. And that's that. And you're calm about it. You're calm about it. Okay? When you also regulated with your nervous system, you have greater access to your intuition and your remembrance. Okay? All right? So you start to activate certain crystalline DNA templates that give you more access to your knowing, right? Because you're in tune, right? And that just comes along with it because you're less reactionary. Okay, you respond before you react. You don't react, you respond. So that means you're taking a deep breath and you thinking about that thing before you react, because you're not in fight or flight. You're thinking about, like, is this really worth my energy? Am I gonna really sit here and just, is this really worth my energy? Like, let me assess this before I invest my energy into the situation. So you more assess instead of react, because react is irrational. So when your nervous system is in coherence, when it's actually coherent energetically, you're not going to be reactionary. You're going to respond because you're in resonance. You're coherent. You're humming. So you're more calmer and different things of that nature. You're not reactionary, because a reactionary person is timid. They're like, oh, I can't take another thing. There's another thing. This shit is another thing. Oh my God. So you ain't got time to really think, because you got it's like from one shit to the next. Oh my God, another thing happening. You ain't got time, because it's like bam bam boom 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 boom. So you reacting from one thing to the next because you in survival. Yes, much more. You have a much more relaxed vibe. Yes, cause because you coasting. You coasting when your nervous system is in, when all of your gears are oiled up. When all your gears is synchronized and oiled up and everything is moving and twisting and turning, and all of your parts, mechanical parts is working, and all of your fire points is hitting, and everything is operating. You're smooth. You're smooth. You all of your shocks and everything working. But when you anxiety and fight or flight or whatever the case may be, and you reacting to everything because one thing is happening after the next. So you're reactionary more so than responsive, right? So yeah, so that's the difference. So when the mental signs that you are in coherence, when you are in coherence with your nervous system is in sync and it's in good condition, is that you're able to respond instead of react. All right. And relational signs are when your nervous system is intact and it's in good condition. Good condition over here. We're not talking about bad condition. Good condition over here is that your tone, your peaceful tone, it shifts the energy of your shared field. Okay. And I had a situation yesterday that exactly what that happened, right? So to share my story with you guys, and this is why I'm doing this live too. It's like I said, I got situations that's just coming up. That's just like, gee, the synchronicity of it all. Where, I had a situation, my son came to me in one tone, I transmuted the tone so that I could address the situation. And where my husband, because like I'm holding the tone, it's like I'm holding the tone of harmony. I'm holding the tone of the hierarchy, not the hierarchy, but I'm holding the tone of the higher consciousness, right? So I'm holding that tone because that's my chosen reality. So I'm holding the tone of my consciousness, my chosen reality, right? But I'm dealing with a shared energy field to that which is chaos and confusion. So I have to hold my own tone, right, to that of my chosen reality, which is peace, love, harmony, right? So I'm here holding my own tone, okay? But my shared field is that of chaos and confusion, survival tone. So, of course, my son comes to me in survival tone. So because I'm able to hold my own tone, so when he comes into my interface, it automatically is going to be transmuted because I'm maintaining my beacon because I refuse to bow. I refuse to bow. Okay? So when he comes into my field, he's coming to me in survival, but of course, when he gets into my field, it's going to automatically be transmuted because I stand my ground, I stand in my tone. Right? So when he gets to me, I shift the reality, right? And then when it filters through me, because it's through you, because you are the frequency container, right? So when I address it, by the time that same experience get through me to the being, it is now being expressed in this tone, not the original tone, because I'm holding my tone, right? So whereas if that tone would have met that tone would have still maintained the coherence of chaos and confusion. But because that tone came to this tone, and then it was translated through this tone to still go to another chaos and confusion tone. Because this tone is not chaos and confusion, it was transferred in peace. Because I control my field as an authority. Because I'm holding my tone. Right? Yes, cause you feel me. Yes. When you have authorship, when you're sovereign in authorship is one of the highest tones you can have. When you holding your tone, and I'm holding my tone in chaos and confusion, that's some shit without being consumed. So that's when you become the burning flame, when you become the burning bush, in the burning bush without being consumed. You that bitch when you could be the burning bush without being consumed. I'm the burning bush without being consumed because I'm holding my tone while being in chaos and confusion. And I'm not being consumed. I'm that bitch. And I'm proud of it. I'm holding my tone. I refuse to bow. Like a phoenix, rise like a phoenix, yes. Yes, cause I'm holding tone. So I'm holding my tone in the higher octaves of light while still dealing. And so whereas my husband only know how to come in chaos and confusion and war, okay, that's the language, that's the, I'm holding tone where I can translate that same situation in a different octave of light because of the tone that I'm choosing to hold. Okay, it's a divine choice, and that's where I'm trying to navigate, where people can understand as an example. It is a divine choice, and yes, you can. Okay, yes, you can. You can if you choose. It's a divine choice. Okay, so the peaceful tone shifts the energy of the shared field. Okay, so you can shift the energy if you choose to hold the higher octave of light. It is a divine, because I do not choose distortion. Because distortion came and had to stop and plead its case. and asked for permission for me to take its case, transmute it, and relay it, because it could not share my field in distortion. Could not share my field in distortion. Had to ask permission for it to be reconfigured, to be conveyed. Right? Because it's authorityship of my field that I have. Right? Of my field of energy. Right? And so that's one aspect of realizing that from a your relationships with others, the relational signs that your nervous system is on track, is that you have a peaceful tone shift that shifts the shared feel of your environment. Your relationship shifts the feel. Okay. The second thing is that it's easier to listen without being defensive. So you can have a conversation with somebody and they may be in a whole nother different vibrational state, but you're not moved to be defensive, because you already know that they have a right to be in that space. And you understand that where they are is where they're choosing to be. And in your mind, I know in my mind, I'm like, you can iron that on out. You ain't got to feel all that density. That's what I be thinking in my head, but I don't say a word. I just know that they're choosing it, and you can kind of tell whether or not if they're even ready for what it is that you even have to say. You know when they are open. You know what I'm saying? You know when they open. You don't say a word, because if they either can hear you or they can't hear you. It's either they open to it or they not. So you just listen. So you don't even. The reason why you're not defensive, because you already know whether or not if they can hear you or not. That's why you're not defensive. Because it don't even make no sense to say anything. Because if they're in a different octave, if they're operating from density, they ain't gonna understand a word that's coming out of your mouth. They only can hear, they ain't gonna hear you. So it don't even make no sense. That's why you ain't defensive. That's why you don't say that. Because you as the aware person in the higher octave, you not going to argue with yourself. Like, you ain't finna do it. Because you already know where they at. Energetically, vibrationally, and in frequency. So you're not going to argue with them. You're just going to listen and be like, yeah, I know, I feel you. Because you know where they're coming from. And they ain't really going to, you know what I'm saying? So you don't got no argument. And you going to preserve your energy. Because you understand that they from a consumptionary, they're going to consume your energy, because that's where they at in survival. Survival is consumer energy. It's a consumptional energy. Okay. All right. And so the next one is that the boundaries are held with calm authority. Just like my son. When my son came, I had a calm authority, but it was calm, but it was authoritative. It was authoritative, but it was calm. And it's almost like it's an unsaid thing. Like they can feel it. You don't even have to say anything. It's like a knowing. The energy speaks for itself. The energy speaks for itself. You don't even have to announce it. It's like the energy speaks for itself. Yep, you get to choose carefully. Yes, I knew I wasn't the only one who thought that. Yeah, it's like it comes. It's like that signature comes along when you reach a certain calibration of energy cause. Yeah, let them be if they aren't on the same frequency. Yeah, it's like that energy. Yeah, it comes. That signature comes right along when you get up in a certain threshold. It's like it comes right along with it. Yeah. And the next one is you have a greater capacity for compassion without an emotional charge. And I talked about that the other day. A lot of people not going to understand why you're not boohoo crying. But you still feel compassion for something, but you just don't emotionally charge it with what they're used to seeing in the denser side of self, which you boohoo crying because they associate tears with compassion, or they associate you doing this with compassion in the lower mind. Just because you don't follow suit with how the denser version of self move to how they, that aspect of self understands compassion doesn't mean that you don't have compassion. You just don't emotionally charge it. And there's a difference. And I do got a visual for that too as well, about emotionally charged and stuff. You just have discernment on how you emotionally charge things, because you understand what that does in terms of amplifying experiences, right? Energetic experiences, especially amplifying energetic experiences that are that houses denser frequency bands. Okay, so you have more of a discerning aspect of what emotionals think of how you amplify. Right, Mr. Over, amping it up. Yep, right. So it's not to say you compassion less, you just have a discernment now in terms of what you emotionally amplify. And that's the difference. That's the difference. And for those of you who have gotten this far on YouTube, please forgive me for the beginning of the live, because I was told to do it this way, but my YouTube is telling me to change the orientation to this way. So I don't know what to do. I'm learning YouTube, you guys. So please forgive me. I'm learning. Okay. Wise about what you choose to feed. Exactly, Mr. O. Exactly. Right? So that's pretty much all that I got in terms of a healthy nervous system that is now beaconing in what they are calling the fifth dimensional level of consciousness. That is the coherence of the fifth dimensional level of you're there. Oh, okay, grateful, cause I'm grateful, right? And when our nervous system how can I say, when our nervous system gets to a point where it becomes regulated, then you'll begin to, especially like with, I don't know, I think the physical part, I honestly think the physical and the mental part, the relationship part for me came after I got my mental mind together, the mental and my physical. Because when you can't go to the bathroom, when you can't go to the bathroom, that does something to your mental. So when you get your your mind and your physical right, I think everything else kind of somewhat follow. You know what I'm saying? I think the rest kind of like follow in order. It's about getting that physical and that mental. When you get your physical and that mental in order, that and maybe that's probably how, let me see, is that how they got it in order? Let me see. Yeah, they do have it in order. Physical, no, they actually have physical, emotional, then mental. So they got the physical, yeah, because when your stomach is hurting and you can't go to the bathroom and all this other kind of stuff, and your back and your everything, your back, everything is aching and everything, it does something to your mental. Like when that stress, the mental stressing you out, but then when your body is hurting, it's like, I don't know how to even put it, like, but I know one thing: when you can't go to the bathroom and your back and everything hurting, it do something to your mind. So it's like you got to get that physical, you got to get that breath, you got to get a lot of that worked out. And I think once you get that part worked out, then the rest will follow. You know what I'm saying? That other stuff will follow. You won't be as mean, because when you can't go to the bathroom and your stomach hurt, you ain't nice to people. You just like, with me, I'm just quiet, and people take my quietness like, oh, she ain't talking to nobody or whatever. But I'm just focusing on trying to get myself better. You know what I'm saying? So my whole focus is on just my wellness. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's that. But these are the things that is going to promote your nervous system being well. This is what it sounds like when your nervous system is beaconing on high velocity, right? That beam is beam straighten up. It's straight, and you getting pure signal, and you're bringing in the necessary coordinates for you to have coherence in the higher octave of light. Am I really worried about the human experience one way or the other? No, I'm not. I honestly am not. You know, I honestly believe that, honestly know that this is a beautiful experience. And, you know, even before I became aware, there was a knowing within me. I've always felt that the human experience deserves to evolve. And I said that, and I'm like, you know, why was I saying that long before I even became awakened? And I was like, you know, the human experience deserves to evolve. I said that even in my younger days, like in my 20s, I was saying it. So am I really kind of like worried about the potential of the human experience being involved? No, I'm not, because in my mind, in my awakened self, even if this experience doesn't necessarily meet the coherence energetically to raise itself into the higher octaves of light, the new repatterning of frequency codes of it being reset back to zero, and let's say it comes back to HE 2.0, it's going to be a better experience, way better than the experience of the human experience in density. I've seen it. There's an experience that I've seen in my vision that resonates so much with me that it doesn't come out of my mental mind. And it's so loving. It's such a loving experience. It's so loving. And there's also, I want to give you guys another visual. I don't know if you guys ever seen the coded experience of the human experience, even in the Bible. I don't know if these Bibles still exist, but there are some pictures where you can see lions, tigers, and everybody, like the animals, all of the more dangerous animals and everything. But you see humans and animals and everything. Everybody is getting along. Nobody feel endangered by any species. Nobody, and so, like I say, a lot of times in this experience you may see it as artwork, but if you see it as artwork, there is a dimension, a coded dimension, where that is an actual reality. Okay, that is an actual experience that is being expressed, even though you might see it as artwork, because that's a vibrational reality. That's a vibrational reality. That's a frequency reality. So if somebody visualized it, right, and they drew it on canvas, it's because there's a version of them that they have aligned with in coherence, in maybe in a dimensional self that is actually experiencing that reality. Okay, there's a version of them that is experiencing it. Okay, so, you know, like I said, once again, my disclaimer is this is in pure harmony and pure tone. This is how I understand my now moment, and I'm so very grateful that I can bring my tone to you guys in sacred, divine, unconditional love, in clarity, in articulated clarity, and in how you can choose to see yourself in this way. If if you're choosing the higher octave of light, it is a divine choice. And like I said, this ain't the first reset of any experience. The Nephilim experience went into a reset. The dinosaur experience went into a reset, right? And no matter what storyline that, all of these beautiful stories that comes along with it, it's about energetic coherence. Whether the experience itself can energetically sustain the coherence of the next octave of light, And it truly depends on how the experience is seeing itself, in terms of, the chosen reality. And a lot of, beings right now, it's not to say that they don't want to experience a different reality, but they're hardwired right now to survival. So my goal is to, try to help lift them claws up out of survival and let them see themselves, let them at least get an idea of how to see themselves, and, give them some hints on how to, you know, get them claws up out of that reality, if that is no longer, if that is no longer their chosen reality. But it has to be a conscious thing, that is no longer their chosen reality. And now, if they still choosing that reality, this ain't the live for you. I'm not here to tell you what to do. But if whatever reality that is in the survival reality, and you looking at that like, this ain't me, this ain't me, this ain't me, I don't know what's going on, this ain't me, and you saying that, hey, golden sugar, hey, beautiful, if you saying that, and this ain't me, and you saying that, and you looking at your reality, but you know that something, then this is who these lives are for. Okay. All right, you guys. Gratitude for you guys' presence. I'm so divinely grateful to have you. Thank you for being here with me. And if you guys like, what I have given you, please like the video on the YouTube side as well as the IG side. And please subscribe to the channel and on the YouTube side as well as the IG side. And please leave a comment regarding of, what are you guys going to do differently in terms of shifting, your and preparing for your nervous system to become more regulated into shifting your reality into the reality that you want to experience and express. Write that into the comments and let me know. And I shall see you guys on the next go round. I'm grateful, Golden Sugar. Golden Sugar said, gratitude for the luminous gems. I'm grateful. Thank you. Mr. Over says, wise about what you choose. Exactly. Indeed. And thank you guys. I love you guys. Mwah. And I'll see you guys on the next go around. Love you guys immensely. Later.